Right to the man of the hour. He has been kind enough to call in on his busy morning here on KSR. We have Jayden Quaintance on the phone line. Jayden, thank you for calling in, and how does it feel to be a Cat for a second time?
It feels good, just getting back to the fan base, getting back in that environment. It feels good.
You still considered Kentucky after the coaching change this time last year. What is it that you love so much about Kentucky and the Big Blue Nation that you've now committed again under two different eras of UK? You seem to really like the place.
Yeah, well, again, the fan base for Kentucky probably one of the best, probably is the best in college basketball, period. And, the coach showed a lot of interest. He seemed like he genuinely thought I fit really well into their program. I feel like I fit well into their play style, offense. And I just thought it was pretty good for me.
Yeah, in talking to Mark Pope and that fit, the reports are you really seem to like his style of play. You just mentioned that. What has kind of Pope told you about how he'll use you and what it'll look like when you bounce back from injury and get back to action?
Yeah, well, when I'm able to get back on the court, they kind of will be able to play through me a little bit more. We'll be able to work on the perimeter a little bit more. Get to show off my playmaking ability more than I was able to this year. Be able to play downhill, push the ball off the break, just work on my versatility more.
I think we actually interrupted your rehab this morning again. Thanks for calling us. So you got a lot of excited listeners. Happy to have you a part of Kentucky. How are things going with the rehab, and is there any kind of timeline or target date where you're really aiming to get back and getting up and down the court?
The rehab's been going really well. I've been ahead of schedule. The scar's healing up well, getting a lot of swelling down, getting my quad strengthened really well. So rehab's been going good. We're aiming to get back around September. Rehab's been going well.
Jaden, appreciate you coming on with us. Amari Williams obviously is a different style of play and kind of fits the mold of what you kind of are as a basketball player. How much did you watch what he did this season and kind of use that as a potential measuring stick of what you could potentially do this upcoming season at Kentucky?
I haven't been able to watch too much, but I feel like from what I was showing on the film, he can play somewhat similar. I feel like I'm going to be able to kind of take over that kind of role well and flourish in that kind of role.
What did Mark Pope say, and what were those kind of early conversations with him like, and saying, hey, here's what you're going to be and how you're going to be used here in our system?
Well, again, they'd be able to play through me at the top of the key to show off my offensive ability more, get to show off my shooting a little bit better. Playing in the pick and roll, being able to get downhill, just playing a more open and faster paced offense. So
Jaden,
I felt that I fit well into that.
What is playing for Big Blue Nation with the most passionate fan base in college basketball on a platform like the University of Kentucky? How do you think that's going to kind of elevate what you're trying to accomplish and what a lot of people kind of envision your last season of college basketball? What is it about the Kentucky brand that intrigues you?
Well, I mean, it's the biggest brand in college basketball. They got the best fans in college basketball. Travel well. You can't go to Kentucky and not get noticed. So I plan on doing big things here, and I feel like this is the best stage to do it on.
Last February, I think it might have been the Georgia game in Rupp Arena. You were there. They brought you out at half court to a huge reception, gave everybody a big wave. How did it feel as that was kind of your first moment in front of Kentucky fans in a unique situation last season? And how exciting is it to get back out there in front of those fans again in Rupp Arena, finally wearing the uniform next year?
It's a great privilege, seeing how much love that the fans show, how, again, large the arena is, how big of a turnout it is every time, you pop out there. So it was a great experience for sure.
We've talked about your connection to Mark Pope. I know this all moved so quickly, but have you had any conversations with some of the players already on Kentucky's roster, or any connections in the past with those guys, gotten to know any of them or heard from them, gotten any group text started yet?
Yeah, my guy, Jasper Johnson, he was a big part of, kind of helping me lean towards Kentucky. He's been talking about how much he loves the environment and the situation and the fans and the coaching and just how he thought I'd be able to fit well into the system that they have going on here and the team that they're trying to build. So my guy Jasper has helped me a lot in kind of getting here.
Hey, Jaden, obviously understanding the assignment in Lexington is very important for Mark Pope and just getting back to the Final Four, winning a national championship. How important is that for you going into this season and knowing the other pieces that Pope has been able to assemble and the group that he's been able to assemble? Is it fair to say that a national championship is on the table next season in Lexington?
Winning is probably the most important thing to me, and I've been wanting to have a chance to compete. I don't really like watching from the sidelines, watching everybody else. You know what I'm saying? In the tournament, we didn't make the tournament this year, and I look forward to, having a real chance to win it next year. I feel like that's going to be another really big part of going to Kentucky, so we have a real shot to win the national championship.
I know fans will love to hear that, and obviously, you got rehab to get to, and we don't want to keep you too long. But what for fans that are not familiar with you or just trying to get back used to you? Obviously, you're an old friend, but now a new friend for us as well. What can fans expect from Jayden Quaintance as a basketball player when you do make your way back to the floor?
I'm gonna play hard and give them all every night. I'm gonna have an impact on the offensive and defensive end of the ball, and I play to win every night. Every time I step on the floor, I play to win, to impact the game however I can.
Love it. Well, Jaden, we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your extremely busy morning to join us here on KSR. I know our listeners loved it and appreciate it because we're very excited to have you back in Big Blue Nation where you belong, and we look forward to everything ahead. But thanks again for joining us, and congratulations on making your commitment.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
All right. We'll talk to you in Lexington. Looking forward to it. All right, guys.
See you.
Yes, sir. Go Cats. There it was, Jack. Hey, good get, Jack, getting him on the phone. I can only imagine how hectic it has been around him this morning. As a big portal target. It even sounded like, was that Bruce Pearl in the background? I thought I heard Bruce when Jaden was talking there. Bruce surely isn't trying to visit him right now, is he? But no, it was great to have him. And like I said, very exciting times for Kentucky. I remember that moment in Rupp Arena when he got the big pop. We were going to have him last year. Life's funny. Got its twists and turns, but he's coming back home. Projected top 10 pick in the 2026 draft, brings some much-needed rim protection, and it sounds like he's on a good timeline with the rehab on the ACL.
All I can focus on is national championship talk, man.
Yeah.
Him talking about, me and Jasper, we've been talking a lot. We have big dreams of hanging banners in Lexington. It's like, ooh, all right, can we? I know the national championship just finished up last night, but I'm ready to roll those balls out and tip the season off.
Made me hungry for it. Like watching it last night. Do you think? Do you think Calipari? Well, how does he feel about this? I mean, could have been one of his big pieces. Did he think that he was going to follow him to Arkansas last year?
It's complicated. I think everybody just kind of knew, it might just be a hard reset for everybody. Some would follow, some wouldn't. And obviously, some did follow and some didn't. But I do know that it was really important for Jaden and those close to him to, kind of make his own decision. And that's why, even after Cal left, there were initial conversations of, hey, I would love to be a part of this. I know it's complicated. It's you guys have a coaching search to do, but I would love to have some type of role in this. And it just didn't work out. It needed a little break to know what they were missing with one another, and they were able to re-find each other again this offseason. And Jaden was able to grow under his own terms on his own timeline, and now we should be getting a more mature, 18-year-old version of Jaden instead of, arriving on campus at 16 like he did last season at Arizona State.
Love always finds a way. Works out. We got him where he needs to be. Stephen, I say this lovingly, respectfully. Sometimes you can be a little bit of a doomsdayer. You consider the worst case scenario at times. Not always. But you can have worries and you can be cautious about the state of Kentucky basketball. How do you feel? Let's just assume they have a shooter we don't know yet. Still got to go out and get one of those. But unnamed shooter and the pieces they have now. Where is Stephen Peake's excitement heading into next season?
First of all, from 2009 when Cal got there to about 2017, I was very much optimistic. Things started to happen in the last few years and since I got to KSR that made me a little bit more, maybe protecting myself a little bit so I don't get too hurt. Maybe that's what it is. But I think with Jaden, you land a shooter, whether it's Yates or whoever else is in the portal.
Dante Allen's in the portal.
That's it.
Run it
that
back.
Could be the
Let's
guy.
call everybody home.
Yeah. Kentucky lineup. Yep.
I'm real excited about this team, and I think what we saw with what Mark Pope and this staff was able to do with what they have. I mean, those were good players they had last year. We have a lot of talk about. There was a lot of talk last year about, this will be the least talented Mark Pope team. I mean, there were some really good players on that team. But now you look at this roster. You had a shooter. Like, I'm dreaming big.
Oh,
I mean,
I see it in your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like a return to our favorite city could be happening.
Oh, God.
No.
That's the only. Now, we're not going to be negative, though, right? We're staying
I
positive.
actually have that city on my list of topics for later, and we still have to get your hot take on the basketball. It's really the only reason I called you in today was so you can just have your open mic about the Wilson basketball. We've been thrown off with the news and the updates. Obviously, we focused today on the two recent editions since they happened in the last 24 hours. But, Jack, I didn't have you on the air yesterday. Kentucky also added Jaylen Lowe over the weekend. We haven't really had a chance to talk about him. I guess the fourth transfer portal piece for Kentucky. How do you feel about him at point guard?
He's different than Lamont Butler. Obviously, Lamont was a defensive anchor and a guy that you just kind of say, hey, go to work and guard the other team's best player. And, it's a different style, but more talented than Lamont Butler. I know it's going to ruffle some feathers, but you're buying on the upside, knowing that okay, he's young, he's growing, a couple more years left of eligibility, but this is a kid that produced at a high level for a very bad ACC team, but was an ACC all ACC member nonetheless. And you're kind of saying if you can get him to improve efficiency because the shots are going to be better, because he has more talent around him, because he's not going to be getting double teamed and have the other team's top defensive assignment every single night. It's going to be more of a balance and let him kind of get his game off more comfortably than he had to do last season, play for Jeff Capel. So you should be getting the best version of Jaylen Lowe, who as an all-conference player as is